How's it going, Grilla family? Dom here at Swine Life HQ. We are getting into some lamb loin chops today. That's what they're called, right?
That's right.
Okay, so I've never seen a cut of meat like this before. Tell me what we're getting into.
So it's a baby T-bone. Just think of it that way.
Okay.
This doesn't have near the gaminess that a lot of lamb cuts do because it's such a small loin, comes off such a small lamb.
Okay.
You take the fat off, there's zero gaminess, just a rich flavor. Put a little bit of rosemary, a little bit of salt, pepper on it. It's great. You can't go wrong.
I'm all about rosemary and I'm all about garlic with my deep Italian heritage, so I'm ready to get on into these. You said we got to trim some fat off, right?
Yes, we'll knock some fat off of them and then we'll be ready to put seasoning on them and get them out there on the pit.
All right, let's get on into that and then we'll get into seasoning.
All right, it's just your standard T-bone, nothing special. That's kind of like the filet side. This is going to be the strip.
Okay.
You have this one fat cap. At the amount of time we're going to be on the pit, we're literally going to be cooking in 2 minutes. So that's not going to render, that's not going to add any benefit to this meat.
Really?
And what little bit of gaminess you're going to get is going to come from that fat.
Okay.
So we just take a knife, slice that one end off, and we're golden. It's done.
Okay, so that whole kind of myth of if you cut the fat off, you're ruining your piece of meat. That's
last time I checked, I've never seen fat running the meat this way. So I think we'll be all right.
Gravity goes down.
There you go. So we'll just knock this edge off. And I mean, you're losing a little bit, but it's not bad. And then you got a perfect little piece of meat right there.
There we go.
And it's a quick trim. I mean, it takes no time.
2 quick slices and you're done.
Unless you mess it up like that, let's go back. But hey, we can handle that. And then we'll knock these on out.
Awesome. All right, Mark, so we got these all trimmed up. Now, tell me a little bit about what we got to do for seasoning on these. I know we got the rosemary and the garlic, but you know, what are some of the other flavors that go good with this?
So we're actually, once we get them seasoned on the pit, I want that pit to flare up. I want these flames to touch this. So we're actually going to have a little bit of butter and a little bit of stone ground mustard to baste on them. About 1 minute in, flip them, baste them again. That grease from that butter is going to make it flare up, get a good crust on these. So that's going to complement that rosemary really well.
Right on. That sounds great.
So to get them seasoned, we're going to start off with just minced garlic.
Okay.
Because instead of like having to use a binder or oil, the minced garlic already has it in it. So we're just going to kind of lightly brush it on and then get it all mixed around. And sometimes you can put it in a bowl and toss it.
So I know a lot of people like to put mint on their pork chops. Can you tell me a little bit about, you know, is that something you like to do or?
I'm not a mint fan.
Okay.
I like a mint, and it's going to be a mint like a breast mint. That's about as far as it goes, yeah.
Break out the Listerine and put that on the pork chops. I don't think we're doing it.
It does, you know, help with, you know, the gaminess. It does kind of knock that back for somebody that's not used to that flavor or just, you know, offended by it, I guess you say.
Right. But like you were saying, since we already trimmed off that fat, we got rid of most of the flavor already.
You're just getting a rich, just a deep, meaty, just almost beefiness flavor. These, to me, I guess you would say, almost like a really, really rich, like sirloin flavor.
Okay.
So it's not that wild, gamey taste like a lot of times you'll get with a little bit of lamb. But so once we get that on, you're going to come back with just your standard. This is just a coarse ground sea salt. You can use kosher salt, and you're just going to get it sprinkled all the way over.
I don't think you're going to hear anyone complain here about too much salt.
And then we got just a black pepper, same thing.
Nice.
And then we have just some chopped fresh rosemary. And this is just going to be the herbiness flavor we're looking for.
Oh.
If we have any left over, probably going to add it to the butter just to carry that flavor throughout the cook.
That's a good idea. That's why we came here. I mean, apparently this guy's got all the ideas I don't.
Kind of pat that in and then get them flipped over.
Perfect. All right, everybody, so we got our lamb loin chops all seasoned up, ready to go, fat's trimmed off. Now, tell us a little bit about how we're cooking these things on the grill. I know you said hot and fast, but what do you mean?
Right now the pit's sitting at about 400 to 450. I want to put these lamb chops on at that temp. Once I get them on there and I start basting them with the butter, it's going to flare up and your temperatures are going to come up. You don't want to carry it all the way up to that 600 for that good sear now, and then when you put butter on it, it's going to get out of control. I mean, it's going to go through the roof. So we'll put them on at a little bit lower temp and then let the grill build the heat as we're cooking.
Got it. So as soon as you open that, the heat's going to start kicking up.
Yeah, it's going to come on.
Okay.
So it's not going to take long. The gauge really is kind of just a guideline. We'll be a lot hotter than what that gauge really says.
Okay, right on. Let's get to it.
And then we're just,
look at that butter in there. How long's that been in?
we had a stick of butter and what left over rosemary, a little bit of that, and a tablespoon of stone ground mustard.
Oh, okay.
So, and we're going to put them right in the center, right over the hottest part of these coals, and we'll keep them kind of close together. That way when we're basting them, you're not having to go all over the grill with butter. You kind of got one centralized location.
So how long are we going to leave these on here for?
We'll go about a minute with the lid closed, and I'm going to go ahead and flip them. and then we'll apply the butter, and that's when the heat's really gonna start coming. It's gonna start flaring up, exactly what you want for this lamb.
Oh man, I can already smell it.
So it's been about 60 seconds. We'll go ahead and look at them. I do recommend on a cone, when you're cooking at this high temp, to make sure to burp the grill. So just kind of open it a little bit, let that first initial burst of heat come out, and then open it. Already getting good color, and you can tell as soon as we start flipping, you start to get some flames flaring up. Now we're finna get some action. And we're just gonna baste them, try to get a little bit on all of them. And like I say, that little flare up, I'm not worried about. It's just adding flavor, adding color. We'll let it go for a second.
So what happens if our flame gets out of fire? What should we do if we got a little out of control on this?
So on a Kamado, just shut it down. Close the lid. Just be careful because the flames will be coming up. Probably if it gets that bad, it's gonna be getting up pretty high. But just close the lid, check your dampers back, cut the oxygen off, and it'll go right out. Especially with lump coal and a Kamado, they're airtight, so it ain't gonna take long.
Okay.
And like I say, that little flare up, I'm not worried about. It's just adding flavor, adding color. We'll let it go for a second.
What internal temperature are we looking for on these guys?
We're gonna shoot for about 125. 125, I definitely would not go over 130 because they're such small cuts and them little T-bones will get hot. It'll make the meat carry over more. You don't have near the insulation of meat and fat to slow that cook process down.
Really? So when you pull it off, it's kind of like a porterhouse. That bone is gonna keep cooking
carrying.
that from the
That's
inside.
right.
Okay.
So we've hit the internal we want. I'm gonna go ahead and get these little ones up. You can tell we got good color on both sides. That fat's still sizzling. And then now that I got them up, we can't let this butter go to waste. We'll baste them one more time. And all this garlic is done roasted in that butter. The butter is starting to brown. The rosemary is good and roasted. It's gonna be an awesome little T-bone.
All right, everybody, so we just pulled these off of our Kong. Maybe 6 minutes of cooking all together?
And the last few minutes was like super quick.
Right, yeah, that's one thing we got to tell people. If you're going to be doing something like this, you got to watch that temperature, man.
So it got up to like 110, creeped up real slow. Once it hit 110, within 30 seconds, it was at 125, 130.
And that's where we pull them off because that internal bone's going to keep cooking them from the inside. Perfect.
It's a pile of T-bones, man.
This is not something you get anywhere. You don't just go somewhere and get a pile of T-bones. Thank you. That's all I have to say. Just thank you.
Do the honors.
Me?
Yeah.
All right. Just grab one, dive on in here.
I'll join you.
I hope so. Oh, man.
I'm gonna go with the filet side.
Mm-hmm. You're gonna have to fight me to not eat the bone on this thing, man. Oh, it's fantastic.
A little bit more than medium rare, good medium, but still full of moisture.
Oh yeah, I've never had a cut of meat like this before. It's so soft, so tender. It's almost like, we got lamb chops the other day, and this is kind of like taking the lamb chop and putting it into a steak. Yeah. I've never even heard of that before. Didn't know it was possible.
Excellent, excellent.
Mm-hmm. Go for that filet side now?
Filet side where it's at. It just melts.
Why didn't I start with that?
Tried to tell you.
Well, apparently I need to learn some things, and we got about 8, 10 more of these to eat. So let's dive on into that. Thank you guys so much for tuning in this weekend. We've gone through so many videos, so many different things. I mean, I can't even think about all of the stuff that we've touched on this weekend. So thank you, Mark. Thank you, Emily. I really appreciate you hosting us.
It was a blast.
Please like, share, and subscribe all these videos. Check out Swine Life on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Make sure that you're getting everything that you need from these guys because I tell you, you got a whole lot to learn.
Thank y'all. We appreciate it.
Hey, all right. Well, we got a couple more of these to eat, a couple more videos to do. Let's dive on into them and get on out of here.
Let's get after it.